So
hello, everyone, and welcome to Deseronto's regular council meeting, Wednesday, April 14th at 6:34. I'd like to start with calling the meeting to order with the adoption of the agenda. May I please have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda?
So moved, Mayor.
I've got it from the deputy. Looks like I got a hand up from Councillor Hudson. Thank you very much. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. Any disclosure of interest tonight at the table? I'm noting none. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the meeting minutes. We have the regular council meeting in March 24, and we have the special council meeting of March 31st. Pages 4 through to 9, correspondence 4.1 to 4.2. Council's wishes, I can take it as one motion. Thank you, Councillor Hudson. Is that a motion to receive? Oh, sorry, Councillor Clark.
Second that.
Thank you very much. I have a mover in Councillor Hudson. I have a seconder in Councillor Clark to receive. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. Next, there are no deputations for tonight. There's nothing in the variance report. Moving on to 7.1, pages 10 through to 12, schedule of accounts 7-2021 for amount of $358,229.58. What are council's wishes?
I would move acceptance of that report, Your Honour, if found to be correct.
Thank you very much, sir. May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Smith.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Any objection or any clarity required? I'm hearing none. Carried. Thank you very much. Moving along to staff reports, we have 8.1. We have the budget documentation prepared by the CAO. So to give everyone a little bit of a background, we started budget deliberations in January of 2021, and through a lot of meetings, a lot of hard work by everybody involved, we've got the budget down to a point where I believe the community is going to be very excited. I believe that it's a budget that offers a lot of consideration to make sure that we kept taxes low, as well as moving the municipal agenda forward. And I think that the community and the surrounding community are very pleased with where Deseronto's heading. So with that being said, may I have a motion, please, to put 8.1 on the table? Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. And I have a seconder from the Deputy Mayor. I'm going to call upon the CAO to maybe do just a bit of an overview for those listening tonight of where we came with the budget and more importantly, how does it affect the residents? Christine, you have the floor.
thank you. At the in-person meeting, the last meeting, we were able to make a few last-minute amendments and found a few more dollars to save from taking out of the taxpayers' pocket, and we were able to bring the budget in, and the actual levy, the budget is under 2%, and that is generating a tax rate difference of less than 1%. So if your assessment stays the same, your taxes are going up less than 1%. And overall, with the county included, it's about a 1% if your assessment stays the same, but with the average residential increase, it really turns into more of a 1.5% increase. Really good stuff in these times. We've experienced some, COVID ramifications, and we've got a lot of great capital projects that are necessary, and purchases that are not just necessary, and we were still able to keep it down low. So kudos to everyone at the table.
Thank you very much. Moving on within that report, we have some of the budget highlights. Some of the budget highlights, as briefly mentioned by the CAO, were community center improvements, a budgetary consideration for a new fire truck, consideration for replacement of some municipal infrastructure, such as water meters, some capital purchases such as backhoes, tunnel culvert replacements, etc. We have a 2021 budget summary that's been presented to us. I believe council's wishes is to have two summaries presented, one that will be easily consumed for our local media partners, as well as one for municipal consumption. I believe the document that we see here would be an excellent document for municipal consumption, and I think that deep dives for those who are interested. However, after having some brief discussion, we feel that it's also necessary to have a smaller condensed version for media consumption. With that being said, may I have actually, does any council member have any comment with respect to the 2021 budget before we move on to receive the report? Councillor Hudson?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, because I know budget time is not easy and it was a lot of conversation, but I'm really excited looking at the percentage that we were able to put forward, and the document looks awesome. So
Thank you very much. Anybody? Deputy Mayor, you have a comment?
Thank you. I would echo Councillor Hudson's remarks. And I think the next thing is, now that we have a budget, there's a lot of really important capital projects that need to be implemented. And I would love to wish staff best of luck in getting those projects implemented in a timely manner for this year. There's a lot of, it's ambitious, but I know the staff will be able to complete the important work that needs to be done to improve. Budgets are one thing, but I think once we get the action on the ground, people will really appreciate the upgrades to the streets and infrastructure in the arena that this budget contains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Any further comment from anybody before I ask to receive the document?
I would just echo what's been said, Your Honour, and thank our staff very much. I know budgets aren't an easy thing and it's hair-pulling time for them, but I think they've done an excellent job, and the residents of Deseronto should be very happy with the work they've done. So I thank all of our staff for putting together this budget.
Thank you very much, sir. With that being said, if there's no other further comment from anybody on council, may I have a motion, please, to receive correspondence 8.1? Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. May I have a seconder, please? I have it in Councillor Hudson. Any objection? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next is correspondence 8.2, CAO guidelines for council endorsement, standard specific transportation design and construction. That is on pages 18 through to 57. So we have residential water and sewer servicing guidelines, subdivision water and sewer servicing guideline. Christine, if you'd like to give us just a quick overview of what we're looking at here. We've all had a chance to read it, digest it, but from your mouth to our ears.
So this was something that in the process of the development we're experiencing, I felt was something that needed to be working on. We're working on site plans. We need to have guidelines endorsed by council that say, yes, we want to follow the MMS. It lays out how we decide what roads, what is required from a developer that is putting in roads or water and sewer infrastructure. The water and sewer ones were prepared by Todd before he left. I just don't think they ever made it to the council table for endorsement. Joe and I and the engineer, Greg Galloway, worked on the transportation design and construction one that you see before you. And I think it encompasses what we need in Deseronto. And we just like to be able to say that councils endorse these so that we can use them. You know, if you're going to build a road, this is the guidelines you need to follow.
Thank you very much. This is I found it a very enjoyable and very interesting read, especially with everything that's going on in our community of late. I think it's very appropriate that we get on this and we consider some of the recommendations that are made within this documentation. May I have a motion, please, to get this thing on table for further discussion? I've got it with the deputy.
Can I just add that
Sure can.
this is a guideline. That
Yes.
this doesn't mean that if in a site plan council feels it necessary to add or go the extra mile and require it, then that's fine. This is simply something a starting place for developers and their engineers to start at minimum.
How I interpreted it was exactly that. It was just simply guidance, and that each individual request will be treated as an individual request, will be debated as an individual request, and will then any provisions assigned based on that request, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So I have a mover in the deputy, I have a seconder and Councillor Hudson to get this thing on the table. Deputy Mayor, do you have any comments, or? You're on mute, bud.
Sorry, it's been a lot of Zoom and Google Meets through work right now. It's been a fun little time. I have muted myself several times. So what I'm really excited to see here is some really good work by staff and using the resources of our engineers to come up with a plan. I'm pleased to hear that staff view this as a minimum standard, and this will be really important to reiterate with any developer that council does reserve the right to improve, change, and I know provincial government also does change regulations from time to time, so this won't have to be brought back every time a change comes. We can just, move along. One thing though that I do just want to bring up to council, I went through this with a fine-tooth comb because of the importance of the standards and its infrastructure, and just a couple of things that I'm curious for maybe some opinion on. Looking at previous developments in town, we're pretty much tapped out for development along pre-existing roads. So any new development in Deseronto will either be the rare infill property or putting in new roads, water, and sewer. One thing that I've noticed is our street lighting in town. In some areas, it's particularly good. In some areas, it's not very good. And I know with development, that's something that would fall on the hands of developers as well. Would there be any way that developers would know of that obligation? Because the last thing I want to see is put in a street without streetlights. I know we've had development on some very, I would say at one time, secondary or tertiary roads like First Street. First Street currently has, I think, 2 streetlights on it. It's pretty dark. Green Street, where we have a development plan, has no streetlights. Is there any where in that addresses the street lighting situation?
I'm just scanning through here. I thought maybe there was, but if there's not, that's certainly something we can add in here.
Yeah. And
There was a spot about site lights or something like that, or sight lines or something like that, but I didn't see anything about street lights.
Okay.
And Christine, another question too. I know in urban design now, as much as possible, utility poles are being discouraged and power lines are being buried. We see that on the western side of Napanee in the large subdivision that's been unfolding in the last 10 years. Would there be any control over that by the municipality when new utilities are going in? There's reasons to bury them. First of all, it is safer for trees and safer in ice storm situations, fewer power outages. Is there any way that we can have that discussion with a subdivision that is going in, or a new street going in? It just makes it easier for maintenance issues.
I don't see why not. I think there is no topic that's off the table when you're negotiating for subdivisions, and I'm not sure it needs to be part of the transportation design construction guidelines, but certainly we can have a policy that we automatically, and it's just a matter of letting the county know we require these discussions to happen, and this is what we require in the way of streetlights, and we'll work toward finding out, can we make it mandatory that it's buried if possible? Because I know there's probably some times where
it's
you can't
not.
do that, but it could be as simple as saying, if you can, do it.
Yeah, and I brought it up at this point because we are talking water, sewer, and utility installation.
Sure.
It's sort of all connected. That's great. Well done. And I'm in support of these guidelines being adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on council have any comment with respects to what we were looking at 8.2? I think it's great. I think it's a great move forward for this community. I think it's awesome that we're looking at something like this, that we have a reason to be looking at stuff like this. So this is good news. With that being said, may I have a motion, please, to accept 8.2? I've got it with the deputy,
Counselor Smith,
and I have a second with Counselor Smith. Any further discussion required? I'm hearing none. Carried. 8.3, pages 58 through to 122. It Deserado Water Financial Plan Report as presented by, what's the name of that company? Was it Watson?
Then-
Yeah, Watson and Associates. Council's wishes. We can discuss it if someone wants to throw it on the table, or we can approve it.
I'll move approval, Mayor.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please?
I
I've got
think
it,
it was,
I've got it with Councillor Hudson. Thank you, Councillor Hudson. And you have some comment on this?
oh, I just thought it, great report. That was all.
Thank you very much. Any objection to receiving the report? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. 8.4, it's a Deputy Treasurer's cost analysis for lunchtime school crossings, page 123. Council's wishes. I can get it on the table. We can receive it.
Mayor, I'll move to put it on the table.
Okay, I've got a mover to put on the table. Do I have a seconder for discussion? Okay, I've got it with Councilor Hudson. It is on the table. Deputy, you've got the floor, sir, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to skip over the first issue with the lunchtime slot for now, because I think the more pressing issue to discuss is the school closure. As you know, the province has indefinitely shut schools down, returning after this week. With COVID-19, I think we need to direct our staff to do what we did in the past with our crossing guards in the
Yes.
last shutdown. I would like to digest this a little bit more. I'm currently in favor of consultations with the school in order to make sure that they're supportive of the lunchtime slot changes if we choose to go that route, but it's not a pressing issue. So what I would probably do would be move to receive the first portion and to direct staff to make appropriate contingencies for the second.
Okay, well, I'll take your first motion, sir. I will take that one to receive that. May I have a seconder, please, to receive the first report?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Any further discussion required? Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Carried. Okay, the second motion, I have no problem taking it. I just want to make sure the staff is clear with the direction that's being given. Is to enact the same policies that we used previously. CIO, you good?
It's a bit murky, I know, because it is sort of a closed session, open session, debatable item.
Fair
Are we all
enough.
on the same page?
That's what I just wanted to confirm from staff, is making sure that they have the clear direction.
Sure.
Christine?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. I'll take your motion then. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Any further comment or questions? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8.6 committee structures. We have the Operations Committee term of reference, we have the Community Development Committee term of reference, and we have the Planning and Development Committee terms of reference. If you notice, these have been changed based on our last conversation in order to add a few of the words that council asked for. Specifically, there was a few added to the mandates. We've all had a chance to take a look at this. May I have a motion to approve? I've got it with the deputy. May I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Any further comments? Hearing none? Motion has carried. I'm actually going to hijack a moment here just to see if we can, now that we've approved the terms of references for this committee, I was going to do it at the end during my announcements, but I just want to see, we have to schedule, I'd like to start scheduling some meetings for these committees. Specifically, we have to schedule a planning meeting sooner than later. So I'd like to get that one on the table tonight if I can, because I know the CAO has some pressing issues from her end that's going to require some council direction. Last time we did budget, every other Wednesday seemed to kind of work for us. Would council feel that Wednesdays would still be satisfactory?
Mayor,
Yes.
Wednesdays are usually problematic for me. It
Oh, because of the
conflicted with
library.
other meetings. That being said, at this point, all my meetings have been pushed up for education purposes to 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock because they're digital and no one needs to arrive in Belleville. So as long as COVID's in place, I can make Wednesdays work. But Mondays and Thursdays seem to be better right now.
Mondays
going
and
forward.
Thursdays for you, sir?
Going forward. But Wednesdays can work as long as we're in COVID Skype meeting mode.
Okay. Christine, we have next Wednesday without a meeting. You said you had some pressing issues that needed to be dealt with. Would you be ready to present those to council on the 21st if we were to choose to have a planning meeting on that day, if it works for the rest of council?
I would.
Awesome. Thank you. Would council have any issues? I'm specifically just looking at the most recent or the need for a planning meeting right now, and then we'll go on and we'll talk about, you know, setting up meetings for the other two committees. So would council be fine with the 21st of April to have a planning meeting?
Fine
What
with me.
time are we looking at?
Okay, so I've got consensus that it's fine with everyone. Well, what time, Deputy? I didn't really catch what is a conflict for you on a Wednesday? It's 4
So
o'clock time?
I have 2 union meetings that usually hit opposite weeks
Yes.
of council meeting. Next week don't have anything on, but we're hoping to do interviews at the library for the new CEO on that day. So I can jostle those around a council meeting if it's if time is, if we can do it at 5, that might be a little more convenient.
Better than 4?
I can do 5, I can do 6,
Okay.
but we will be doing some interviews on Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, so does the rest of council have any issues if we decide to go for 5 at this meeting?
Not
Wednesday?
for me.
Wednesday at 5? Kev, are you all right with that?
Yes.
Wednesday at 5? Amber?
Yep.
Councillor Hudson, sorry? Yes, you're good? Okay, excellent. Christine, will you be good for Wednesday at 5?
Sure.
Okay.
And
let's
how
go
long
ahead.
are we looking at, guys? An
We
hour?
capped it at 1 hour for that meeting.
Perfect.
I believe all the
Excellent.
terms of reference is 1 hour for each meeting is a maximum.
Perfect.
Perfect.
This is to discuss a site plan agreement.
So it might take a little bit more. But right now we're on the table for 1 hour, and we can push it back further if we need to. So let's go for 5 o'clock, April 21. Excellent. Thank you. As far as the other 2 committees go, the deputy mayor had indicated that Mondays or Thursdays are best for his schedule. How does that look for the rest of council? Obviously, we can be fluid with these things. There's only 1 meeting a month, or as required. So does anyone else have an issue with, say, Thursdays? And what I'll do is I will work with Christine. Well, I'll work with staff to make sure that we have available staff on a Thursday, and we'll do the meetings back to back. So 1 meeting will be operations, and then the other meetings will be the development committee meeting. Is everyone fine with Thursdays?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
And if we decided it was going to be, say, between 5 and 7?
Yep. Mayor, I have one issue with the 3rd Thursday of the month
Yes.
is the Quinte Conservation Executive Committee meeting. So as long as it's not the 3rd Thursday, I'm good with Thursdays anytime after 4.
Okay, so the only place that would conflict would be, okay, so you have a meeting tomorrow, so obviously we're not gonna do anything then, and then it'd be the 20th. So if I'll work with Christine to see, we'll be aiming in around the 6th or the 13th, depending on staff availability. Is that fine?
For May, perfect.
Yeah, for May. Okay, so that's gonna be my marching orders. I'll work with staff either for the 6th or 13th, and Christine will reach out to everyone by email and confirm. Is that fine with all of council before I move on?
Absolutely.
Fine,
Great.
fine with me.
Thank you very much. Okay, excellent. Moving on to 10.1, pages 128 through to 135, we have a request from the Elite Canadian Bass Anglers Tournament Committee to use our launch for one of their tournaments that they have coming up. May I please get a motion to get this thing on the table for discussion? I've got it with the deputy. And I've got a seconder by Councillor Hudson. Thank you very much. And take a minute here, everyone, so they can pull up what's being asked for. Okay, so you have to slide down through a few of these slides to get to the actual request. The first is just a preamble telling who they are, but there is a spot specifically that says the request that they're making to us. And it outlines a little bit more of what's being asked of. Deputy Mayor, you have the floor if you'd like to start.
Thank you, Mayor. Looking at the request, it appears that the boat launch at Desmeralda will be a secondary launch site. It looks like most of the event will be happening on MBQ territory. So what I would suggest is, as long as this is a non-exclusive request, because we don't have any way to police exclusive requests on weekends, anybody of the public is welcome to use our boat launch. And as long as it's non-exclusive, I have no problem with that. In fact, I'm very glad to see something like this happening. Thank you.
Councillor Hudson, do you have any comment?
No, I would happen to agree. It's with the times that are going on, it's nice to see something that can utilize our boat launch. And a fishing derby is perfect because people can social distance and they can still enjoy kind of our waterfront at the same time being safe. So.
Thank you very much. So we're looking at July 9th and July 10th till approximately 5 p.m. We're requesting that, or we're actually stating that this cannot be exclusive use, but we would allow them to use our boat launch. The only thing I ask is that once we approve this, if we choose to, is that we notify the streets department, let them know that we are going to be having an influx that weekend. So if there's anything they want to take a look at on the docks, make sure everything's safe and cool, that they're made aware in advance.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, if
Yes,
I
sir?
could also add, I think it's important we also let these people know that there is parking available at the community center. 70 boats and trailers might have some overflow onto the streets. You know, the community center lot is pretty empty on weekends unless it's boats and trailers. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we could definitely let them know that. In addition, if I would like to know what type of security they use, what type of traffic control they use. I'd like to ask for a little bit further information with respect to how they police their crowds. And we would like to think that we're going to be out of the woods come July. But just in case, I'd like to know what procedure they'll be taking to keep our community safe and protected. Councillor Hudson?
No, I would agree, Mayor, and just making sure that they are following all the proper protocols. And if there's anything we can do to support them through that, like I totally agree with that.
Thank you. Any further comment from anybody at council? Okay, with that being said, it's on the table. May I have a motion, please, to proceed, or giving staff authorization to proceed? I've got it with the deputy.
Councillor Smith.
Seconded by Councillor Smith. Any further discussion? Hearing none? Carried. Next, we have 10.2, 136 to 148. It's just a review of our current COVID policies and procedure. This was upon request. So I'm going to give the floor to the person who requested today. Deputy Mayor, you've got the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I am sad to say that we have to bring these up again because we're now into wave 3, and it's just a sort of our due diligence as council to review that we have the appropriate policies in place, and they're continuing on. It looks like the first issue is the delegation of authority bylaw, which looked like it lapsed with the suspension of the first pandemic state of emergency being over. Since then, we are in a good, fortunate position that amendments to the Municipal Act have come into place. And for the last year, council has been able to meet whenever council has been required to meet. And I'm glad that everyone has been healthy and safe at home, and Zoom meetings haven't done us in yet. So that's great that I think that issue has been carried off. But just reviewing the staff screening and the staff safety, one thing that always comes to my mind is use of personal protective equipment. Right now in the public sector where I am at, PPE has been handed out fast and furious, and rules surrounding the use of it at the direction of the health unit have gone up because we're in a situation where lots of individuals in a building, and I know Councillor Hudson deals with the same thing at her workplace. My question is, do we have a stockpile of PPE sitting right now, and are we handing it out regularly to our employees? Thank you.
Christine, would you like to comment upon with respect to our PPE stores?
Yes, we have a store and each department has their own store. We were all stocked up at the beginning. I think the fire department in particular has its own requirements, and each department seems to order what they need when they need it. But there is a bit of a stockpile at the office.
Good. Just to follow up with that, because we are dealing with new variants of COVID-19 that are showing to be more communicable. Are we in a position, I know some people prefer their own masks, but my employer has directed us to wear employer provided surgical masks. They come out of the Ontario stockpile. I'm sure that's where Hastings County provided us with the PPE from. Is it to the point where we need to start ensuring those are being worn? They do provide additional protection, and we know that the quality of other masks, some are good, some are not so good. They wear over time. I know it's a little bit of garbage, but the PPE that we're getting at work is phenomenal, and I would want the same for our employees here. Is it time for us to mandate that we use surgical grade medical masks? Thank you.
Christine, if we were to go that route and request that staff move to a surgical grade medical mask, I know the fire department has some that they purchase through Brockville. I don't know how many medical masks we have or what we would need to go that route. So we would have to do an inventory specifically if we were to proceed. Council, I'm going to throw it out there. Deputy Mayor's throwing something on the table for discussion. Anyone have any comments? Currently, staff are allowed to use what masks they feel comfortable wearing, and sometimes they might be reusable, and sometimes they might be disposable. So the Deputy Mayor is proposing that we look at going to a disposable surgical mask route, just because it provides extra layers of protection for the new variants. Anyone on council have a comment? Yes, Councillor Hudson.
I do agree in the fact that as public members of the society with our job in education, we are provided with like a box of masks, and that does make me feel like I am afforded a certain amount of protection with a certain mask that is a policy. The only thing there, so I'm unsure if we make that a policy as a town, but at the same time, I agree, if that's something that our town staff wants, that we should be hearing it. And I know you would agree with that, but I'm not sure where we're at with that conversation.
Thank you. So the question is, should we be using medical grade surgical masks? Christine, do you think anyone would have an issue with that if we looked at procuring some medical grade masks, like Councillor Hudson said, giving each employee a box of masks?
I don't think anybody will have a problem with it. Nobody has requested it, and you know, if anybody felt strongly about it, I would hope they would have come to me and said, let's do this. But I mean, it's no extra protection is going to hurt.
No, and I'm kind of there too. I was thinking, has anyone come to you? Is there any reason why they couldn't wear one of those masks over the mask they're wearing? If not, I agree with the deputy. If we can have a little bit more protection, that'd be great. Sorry, Christine.
Well, and I guess, you know, for I don't know what Transit's using. I'm sure it's something fairly significant, and they've got walls built. The drivers have walls built around them, and I'm pretty sure the fire department has their own specifications of what they require. They have like really good equipment. With the office closed, I'm not sure. It's just staff with staff most of the time, but sure. I mean, we wouldn't need very much, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And these masks are pretty they're pretty accessible these days as well. So
Sure.
I would agree. I would say let's move forward and start providing medical grade masks to staff.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Mayor. I think that's such an important thing to say, that we're going to provide the best PPE possible for our employees at this point. With some of the new regulations too, we have to be aware that the province can order a job site shut down if there's an outbreak. And my God, the services we provide, water, sewer, the town hall goes down. Anything we can do to show that we're doing our part to prevent spread is important. And thank you.
Yeah, most places I go, if the health unit are involved, they mandate medical masks moving forward. So I think getting ahead of it is perfect. So thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, for bringing up this discussion tonight. Anything further did you want to discuss within 10.2? Or does
No, I
anybody want
think
to talk
it's-
about anything further?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. If not, can we just receive the documentation provided, please?
Agreed.
Thank you. I've got a mover and a seconder, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councilor Hudson. Any further discussion? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. We have correspondence requiring no action or information items 11.1 through to 11.4, pages 149 to 157. Actually, there's actually a sneaky one there. It's 11.1 to 11.5. Council's
Mayor?
wishes. Yes,
I move approval, but I have a couple of questions.
sure. So you're taking them all, are you?
I move receiving all of them,
Thank
then a
you.
couple of questions.
Sure. I'll take your motion to receive. May I have a seconder so the Deputy Mayor can ask his questions?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councilor Clark. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. This is in regards to connectivity and the Eastern Ontario Regional Network announcement and the board composition. As we're all experiencing right now, rural Ontario and small town Ontario is struggling with connectivity. Deseronto, not so much as other parts, but it is a huge issue when it comes to regional development. And I'm very pleased to see the announcements from Hastings County and the Eastern Ontario Regional Network that there is funding coming and more money to build that network, the better. Looking though at the appointments of board of directors for the next 2 years, we have wardens of Renfrew, Prescott Russell, and past warden of Haliburton County. That leaves a pretty sizable chunk in the center of this region, not represented at the table. And I know geography has a huge impact in trying to set up a network. This might be a question for you, Mayor. How are we still staying engaged at the county level with this? If you could give council a bit of an update from what you've heard and seen, I would be really grateful to hear.
Sure. The warden, Rick Phillips, has done a wonderful job working with CAO Jim Pine for the county. They were champions of this program right from the beginning. This is something that is near to dear to their heart. They're definitely keeping up on it. County council gets updates on this program quite frequently, and I believe that they submit it to neighboring municipalities as well. So although we might not have actual representation through the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus and through other avenues, we're definitely kept well informed.
And just to follow up, Mayor, what is the projected date of getting this network going? Are
you talking Deseronto, or are you talking in general? Because I've seen
for the whole region.
See, I'd love to give you a definite on one, Deputy Mayor, but I've seen so many different modelings on a completion date on this. I've seen up to 2030. I've seen 2025 that it will start in our area. I can tell you right now, Deseronto's area is not one of the first places that are going to go online. I think if I'm not mistaken, we're probably about 60% in. So as far as a finished completion date, Deputy Mayor, I could not provide that to you. We could ask for further clarification, or I could speak to my county colleagues next week and follow up. But as far as completion, I don't think anyone really knows.
Okay, and Deseron already is served to some degree
Yes.
with high speed. We are not a high speed desert like so many people face for sure. But the whole area will thrive once this is up and running. This is a big thing for Eastern Ontario.
Yeah, a lot of the northern parts of Hastings County, they're having issues, and they're seeing a lot more home-based businesses. They're seeing a lot more working from home people. So they're really pushing hard to expedite this.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
So with that being said, any further questions with respects to the information items?
Just one more.
Sure.
The notice of public meeting in regard to the official plan. Just for clarification, this does not seem to hit anything Deseronto based. Am I correct in my assumption?
I didn't see anything that was specifically Deseronto based that would affect anything Deseronto wise. But Christine, did you see anything?
There's a few policies that we need to implement here. The secondary dwelling policy, we don't really have one yet. And that's one of the things the planning department, because right now it's whatever the province legislates. So we do need to get, that's one of the top items for the planning committee. What's in here is update to be consistent with changes to the Planning Act. Yeah. And so there's been change there. The COVID has knocked everything for a loop. And, while, the secondary dwelling policies is relatively new anyway, there's already changes to the Planning Act to encompass that. Other than that, that's the only one that that really jumps out at me that pertains to us.
Okay, so building on that, Christine, because this has been on our radar for a while, and it would tie probably with their zoning bylaw as well, which we all know dates back from '93. Is there something that we can do at the planning committee to sort of start a scope and sequence? Since the county's doing this, we have work to do at our level. And it's not simple, straightforward work. We're dealing with almost a 30-year-old planning bylaw. Zoning bylaw locally. Is there a way that we can maybe defer some of this stuff to that planning meeting or our second planning meeting to get the ball rolling on updating the zoning bylaw?
Absolutely.
And
So
there's a few things I have highlighted and outlined. The cannabis legislation, the county sent us some stuff that we needed to implement that it was recommended that we put into our zoning bylaw, and we kind of went, yeah, that's great, but we really need to update the whole thing. So I can bring those forward, and really it's just sitting down and going through, seeing what makes sense. A lot of it's old. It's old, and it doesn't speak to new technologies and new. So it's just it's an exercise and going through page by page and taking advice from the county to say, yes, you need to look at this, this, and this, and this. These are upcoming in the Planning Act.
And Christine, just one more follow-up, because this is a huge project. We know it's a huge project. Planning basically does rest with the county. Is there any county support offered here? We don't have an in-house planner. We have a contract planner.
No.
You're not a planner. They have planners.
Yes.
Is there any way to leverage the county? Because I know in '93, it was Hastings County's support through their planning department to get this thing going.
Yeah, and last year or the year before, I had a meeting with Jason Budd because it was the county's intention to develop a template for the lower tiers to be able to work through this in a way that was helpful. And I think that's still on the table. I believe the mayor and I are going to have a meeting with Jason or Justin and have a discussion about what they can do for us, how much they can help us. Justin has been very good, and he has suggested any planning help we need. I just need pick up the phone and ask if it's something that's within their wheelhouse, or if he has the staff to do it. Absolutely, they will help us.
Perfect. Thank you.
So further to that point, Deputy, we've been in contact with Hastings County Planning over the last, so I think last 7 days anyways, and Justin did reach out. And as CEO said, we are going to be setting up a meeting. So from that meeting, we will be bringing back to the planning committee the advice that Hastings County is giving us, and hopefully an action plan moving forward. And that will happen probably with it for our second planning meeting.
Very good, Mayor. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions with respects to the information items from anyone? Okay, motion carried to receive. Thank you. No new business, no notice of motion tonight. We will have some bylaws to read here in a moment. Any announcements from anybody at the table? I'll start with Councillor Hudson. You're looking at me.
No, excuse me. No announcements tonight.
Thank you very much. Councillor Smith?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. Councillor Clark?
No, I don't have anything to say. I think I said it all to you a few days ago.
Thank you very much, sir. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Since this is a news article in the National Post, I do wish to thank Council for staying clothed during their meeting. I believe the House of Commons had a problem the last little while about a member coming to their meeting naked. So well done, Council. I know Council will also like to probably acknowledge many things going on in the area right now. It's springtime, things are getting a little better, but we do know that everyone must remain under these wonderful regulations that are with us for another 3 weeks. The public sector health workers are doing a fantastic job locally. I've heard from numerous people that as many clinics and appointments have been kept as possible, even with the new restrictions at hospitals. I know that Councillor Clark will convey my thanks to the people at the Lennox and Annigan County General Hospital and their teams for all the work they're doing right now. It is not easy, and especially facing a third wave, we have a lot of thanks to be given to our doctors, nurses, lab technicians, custodial staff at our local hospital. Everyone who works, paramedics and medical right now, needs our applause. We're coming up on a sad anniversary this week of the very tragic events in Nova Scotia last year, and I know Council is thinking of our society with the loss of the Duke of Edinburgh. I would perhaps ask staff to refer to the Canada Heritage Site for half mastings. There are some coming up, including for the funeral of the Duke, the commemoration of last year's events in Nova Scotia, and on the end of the month, the day of mourning for persons killed or injured in the workplace. It's a very important day for all workers. And that's where I'll leave it tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I just want to let everybody know that over the next 4 weeks, I'm hoping to work with staff on getting out a spring newsletter. I think we have a lot to say as a community, as a council. So I just want to let everybody know that we are looking at doing a newsletter within the next 4 weeks. If any council member has anything they want to add to it, let me know. Make sure that it gets in there. In addition, I want to let the community know, some people in the community might not have known last time, but there is a one tag free bag that you're going to receive during the period of shutdown that we're in right now. I want to let everybody know that we do have our protocols online right now on both our website and our social media page. So if anyone has any questions about how to engage council, that's how it's done. Our town hall, that's how it's done. In addition, I've been getting a lot of requests with respect to what are we doing for spring cleanup. So I think maybe that's something we're going to want to get out sooner or later, some sort of media address with respects to how we're doing spring cleanup this year. And Thank you very much to Gail for helping us get the news release together that went out on Monday, I think it was. And I think we're working to update the sign at the town hall right now to make sure the information is consistent. So that's a little bit of housekeeping for all of council. If you're asked what's going on by the constituents, that's what's going on. So thank you. Moving on, we have bylaws. Not assuming that the deputy is going to read every bylaw. Would anyone like to start the bylaws? If not, I'll have the deputy read. Okay.
I think he
Deputy-
does a fine job.
I think he's doing a great
I-
job.
I thank you, sir. So it's my pleasure to read bylaw number 3121, being a bylaw to adopt a budget for the year 2021 to provide for 2021 final tax rates for properties, to provide for the collection of these 2021 taxes, and to establish penalties and interest for all unpaid taxes on the due dates. And I move that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and come into force this 14th day of April.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, I got a thumbs up from Councillor Hudson. Perfect. All in favor? Carried, and good work, everyone. Moving on to 15.2.
3221, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the Corporation of the County of Hastings County for information technology managed services. And I am pleased to move this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and come in force this 14th day of April.
May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hudson. Any objection? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you.
Mayor,
One more.
I defer the next bylaw to my friend, Councillor Hudson.
Okay, Councillor Hudson, you're up.
Sorry, you put me on the spot.
Sorry, ma'am. It is the confirming bylaw.
No, we got 15.3, which is a transfer payment bylaw.
Oh, lucky me.
I
I'll
was gonna
take that
say
one.
there's a couple bylaws left.
Oh, I skipped it. You're on deck, ma'am.
Okay, so deputy, you can do 33.
21.
Perfect.
Being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen in Wrightham, Ontario, is represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal for the provincial funding to the municipality for a fire safety grant. And I move that bylaw be read a first and second and third time.
Thank you. Second? Councillor
I'll
Hudson.
second that.
Okay, I'll take Councillor Smith because I heard him first. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now we have a confirming bylaw. Councillor Hudson, you're up.
Bylaw to confirm the proceedings of regular council held on the 14th of April, 2021 to be read a first, second, and third time.
Thank you. And Councillor Clark, would you second that, sir?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Any objection? Hearing none? Carried. Lastly, motion for adjournment. May I have that?
Councillor Smith.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. May I have a seconder, please? There we go. Councillor Hudson, thank you very much. I assume no objection. Thank you very much, council. I am calling adjournment. Have a great night.